through the lens of scoring Mets games. The 1990s. My first game. Pirates 3, Mets 2, June 13th, 1992, at Shea Stadium. We start with a Mets game that I have zero recollection of. I was 8 years old when this game took place, and after exhaustive research, this is the oldest living, breathing scorecard from me that I could find, which makes it the first. It is simultaneously the George Washington of my scorecard collection for being the first, and the Millard Fillmore, because I have no memory of it ever happening. I'm also taking the leap of faith that this is the genuine article, because I trust that my parents never threw out an earlier scorecard that could have been my first. So, for the sake of my psyche, I assume this is the legit first time I ever laid pencil to scorecard. I've asked my father what got me into scoring games, and the truth is scoring games actually got me into baseball. My dad has been a diehard Mets fan since their inception in 1962, and a season ticket holder since the late 1970s. So I obviously grew up in a household where the Mets were religion. But my older sister was the one who went to games with my dad and sat there for all 9 innings without an issue. I was the opposite. Apparently, as I've been told, I could not sit still, and my dad eventually abandoned the idea of taking me to games alone. Granted, I was between the ages of 1 and 6 at the time, but my sister, who was only a few years older than I am, was a real trooper. I, on the other hand, was a terror to take to games. I would cry, complain, and just flat out not watch the game, while my sister was a little angel. So while I would still go to games, it would only be if my mother was there too, so she could keep an eye on me. As nuts as my dad was about the Mets, my mom could not possibly care less. So she was the absolute perfect person to essentially babysit me while my dad and sis would enjoy the Mets game uninterrupted. I got a lot of my craziness from my dad, including my propensity for keeping records on everything. He actually kept a complete list of games we attended as kids. I was able to look at this list and study it, and I noticed a trend. Starting in 1991, when I was 7, the games I attended started to increase, while my mom and sister were going less and less. It started to become just me and my dad. What the heck happened? Well, I started pounding him with questions about baseball, and somewhere along the line, he brought up scoring games to me. He probably figured it would distract me from losing interest in the game. Little did he know he was slowly creating a monster. I went to 21 games in 1992, and the 9th game I went to is apparently the first game I scored. His master plan worked to perfection. Learning about scoring the game and then perfecting my process of doing it got me into baseball in a big way. Based on the stories my dad has shared, baseball didn't get me into scoring, but scoring got me into baseball. I can tell by the handwriting that my dad contributed big time to this inaugural game. My hand clearly got tired towards the end of the game because he is the one writing in the pinch hitters and new pitchers that came into the game. My spelling is simply awe-inspiring. As you can see in the old Shea Stadium scorecard, they conveniently supplied the rosters of both the New York Mets and visiting Pittsburgh Pirates, but that didn't stop me from butchering every freaking name. 8-year-old me also apparently decided to create a new baseball player named Andy Slike as I got rid of the van. I really wish I had an answer for the doodling that featured peace and love. I'm going to just blame either my mother or sister for this one, as they were also at this game. What is pretty cool about looking back is that while the Pirates defeated the Mets that day, it was Barry Bonds who hit the game-tying home run in the top of the 8th inning. I have said many times on the radio that Bonds is the greatest baseball player I've ever laid eyes on, so it was only fitting that he played a key role in the first game I officially scored. It would take some time, but my scoring would get better, and so would my spelling. Keeping score. The Mets had taken a 2-1 lead on Howard Johnson's 2-run double in the bottom of the 6th before Bonds connected off reliever Wally Whitehurst leading off the 8th. 2 outs later, Orlando Merced doubled home the go-ahead run. Bonds hit 38 of his major league record, 762 home runs against the Mets. That is the 10th highest total for any opposing player. The 1992 Mets went 72.